Exploring the sugar diet. 1. Understanding the sugar diet. What it really means. The term sugar diet often confuses people. Some assume it's a high sugar fad meant for quick energy spikes, while others believe it's just a strict no-sugar approach aimed at total elimination. But in reality, the sugar diet is not a specific one-size-fits-all plan. It refers to a broad and nuanced approach to managing your sugar intake, with a sharp focus on minimizing added sugars while understanding the difference between natural and refined sources. Natural sugars, like those found in fruits, vegetables, and dairy, are part of whole foods that also provide essential fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. These nutrients slow down the absorption of sugar and prevent the sharp blood glucose spikes that refined sugars often cause. On the other hand, added sugars, like high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, and agave nectar, are typically found in processed foods and sugary beverages. These have no nutritional benefit beyond calories and often lead to long-term health issues if consumed excessively. The modern sugar problem isn't that sugar exists, it's how much and how often we consume it. Studies show that the average adult consumes nearly 3 times the recommended daily intake of added sugar, often unknowingly. It's in your morning cereal, your salad dressing, and even your so-called healthy granola bar. The sugar diet isn't about demonizing food, but about education and moderation. It's about becoming sugar-aware, reading labels, cooking more meals at home, and choosing natural sweetness over refined overload. Done right, this approach isn't restrictive, it's empowering. You learn how to fuel your body with smarter, more balanced energy sources, reducing your risk for chronic diseases, while still enjoying your food. In essence, the sugar diet is a long-term lifestyle upgrade, not a short-term fix. 2. The negative effects of excessive sugar consumption. Consuming sugar in excess may seem harmless at first. After all, it gives you a temporary boost in energy and mood. But the long-term effects of too much sugar are far from sweet. From metabolic dysfunction to chronic disease, the consequences of high sugar intake ripple through nearly every system in the body. First and foremost, sugar disrupts blood sugar regulation. When you consume large amounts of refined sugar, your pancreas floods the body with insulin to manage the glucose spike. Over time, this constant insulin demand can lead to insulin resistance, a key factor in the development of type 2 diabetes, obesity, and even cardiovascular disease. But that's just the beginning. Excess sugar also leads to increased fat accumulation, especially visceral fat that surrounds organs like the liver and heart. This type of fat is inflammatory and metabolically dangerous, increasing your risk of heart attack and stroke. Sugar also elevates triglyceride levels and LDL cholesterol, further amplifying your cardiovascular risks. In the liver, high sugar intake, especially from fructose, contributes to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, a silent but growing epidemic. Sugar also weakens your immune system by impairing the function of white blood cells, leaving you more susceptible to illness. Mentally, sugar affects mood regulation by altering neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. While it may give a temporary high, it often leads to energy crashes, irritability, and long-term mood instability. Some research even links high sugar diets to increased risk of depression and anxiety. Moreover, sugar is a major contributor to dental decay. It feeds the bacteria in your mouth, leading to plaque buildup, cavities, and gum disease. The harsh truth? Sugar might taste sweet, but its impact on your body is anything but. Awareness and reduction are not just dietary choices, they're investments in your future health. 3. Spotting hidden sugars in everyday foods. Think you're eating clean just because you don't eat candy or drink soda? Think again. Hidden sugars are everywhere, even in foods marketed as healthy. From your morning yogurt to your organic granola bar, sugar often sneaks into your diet under names you might not recognize, making it easy to overconsume without realizing it. Manufacturers are clever in disguising sugar on ingredient labels. There are over 60 different names for sugar, including maltose, dextrose, barley malt, cane juice, corn syrup, brown rice syrup, fruit juice concentrate, and turbinado sugar. These aliases make it difficult for consumers to track what they're actually eating. And worse, some products contain multiple types of sugars to make the ingredient list seem less sugar-dense than it really is. Common offenders: flavored yogurts, healthy cereals, energy bars, salad dressings, pasta sauces, and even low-fat products. 4. Natural sugars versus added sugars. Knowing the difference. One of the biggest sources of confusion in nutrition is the difference between natural sugars and added sugars. While both types are chemically similar, they break down to glucose or fructose in the body, their effects on your health and metabolism are drastically different. Natural sugars occur in whole foods like fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. These foods come bundled with fiber, water, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that slow down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. For example, eating a whole apple delivers fructose alongside soluble fiber, which moderates the blood sugar rise, promotes satiety, and feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Similarly, lactose in dairy products is balanced with protein and fat that blunt glucose spikes. Added sugars, on the other hand, are sugars that manufacturers add during processing or preparation. They have no accompanying nutrients, no fiber, no vitamins, no minerals. Think of cane sugar in soft drinks, high fructose corn syrup in candy bars, or corn syrup solids in salad dressings. When you consume these refined sugars, your body absorbs them quickly, triggering large blood sugar and insulin spikes. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, increased fat storage, and chronic inflammation. Beyond the metabolic effects, added sugars also hijack your brain's reward system. They deliver a rapid dopamine hit, reinforcing cravings and leading to habitual overconsumption. In other words, you're not just fighting willpower, you're battling neurobiology designed to seek out and repeat rewarding behaviors. 5. Reading labels: how to spot added sugars in products. Learning to read labels is one of the most important skills you can develop to control your sugar intake effectively. Manufacturers are notorious for sneaking sugar into products under dozens of different names. And unless you know what to look for, you might be consuming far more sugar than you realize, even in foods marketed as healthy. Start by checking the nutrition facts panel. In many countries, added sugars are now listed separately from total sugars. This is a game changer. For example, a container of flavored yogurt might list 20 grams of total sugar, but the label will show that 12 grams are added sugars, revealing that more than half of the sugar is not from the milk itself, but added sweeteners. The ingredient list is another essential tool. Ingredients are listed in order by weight, so if sugar, or any of its many aliases, appears in the first few items, that product is sugar heavy. Be aware of these common sugar disguises: corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, maltose, cane juice, agave nectar, molasses, rice syrup, and fruit juice concentrates. Manufacturers sometimes use multiple types of sugar to avoid listing one high up on the ingredient list, a trick called ingredient splitting. Building label literacy empowers you to make informed choices. It helps you swap sugar-laden options for cleaner alternatives. For example, choose plain Greek yogurt over flavored varieties and add fresh fruit for natural sweetness. By practicing label reading consistently, you gain control over what you're putting in your body, laying the foundation for sustainable, health-supportive eating habits that actually work in the real world. 6. The impact of sugar on weight gain and obesity. Sugar doesn't just taste good, it also drives one of the biggest public health crises of our time: obesity. While it's easy to blame obesity solely on excess calories, the type of calories matters immensely, and sugar calories are among the worst offenders. When you eat sugar, especially added sugars in processed foods, it's rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream, spiking blood glucose levels. This triggers a strong insulin response from your pancreas. Insulin's job is to shuttle glucose into cells for energy or storage. But when sugar intake is constant and excessive, cells become less responsive to insulin, a state called insulin resistance. As insulin levels remain chronically elevated, your body stores more calories as fat, especially around the abdomen, where it becomes metabolically dangerous visceral fat. But there's more to sugar's link with weight gain than insulin alone. Sugar doesn't trigger satiety signals the way protein or fat does. Liquid sugar calories, like those in soda and sports drinks, are especially sneaky. They add hundreds of calories without making you feel full. Studies consistently show that people don't compensate for liquid sugar calories by eating less later, leading to chronic caloric surplus. Fructose, the type of sugar found in high fructose corn syrup and many processed foods, is metabolized differently than glucose. It's processed in the liver, where it can be converted directly to fat in a process called de novo lipogenesis. 7. How sugar affects your energy levels throughout the day. Sugar is famous for its quick energy boost, but that reputation is misleading at best. In reality, sugar's impact on your daily energy levels is a classic case of short-term gain, long-term pain. When you consume sugary foods or drinks, especially those with high glycemic indexes like soda or candy, the glucose floods your bloodstream almost immediately. This causes a sharp spike in blood sugar, which your body sees as an emergency. In response, your pancreas releases a large dose of insulin to rapidly shuttle that glucose into your cells. For a brief moment, you feel fantastic, energized, alert, maybe even euphoric. This is the notorious sugar high. But what goes up must come down. That insulin spike often overshoots, dropping your blood sugar levels below baseline. The result? An energy crash that leaves you feeling fatigued, irritable, and craving even more sugar. This roller coaster cycle is the real problem with high sugar diets. It promotes erratic energy levels, mood swings, and difficulty focusing throughout the day. Over time, this repeated pattern can lead to insulin resistance, meaning your cells no longer respond effectively to insulin signals. Now your body has to work even harder to manage blood sugar, leading to chronically elevated insulin levels, a major risk factor for obesity, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. It's also worth noting that sugar doesn't provide the sustained energy you need for demanding activities, whether that's an intense gym session, a long workday, or managing a busy household. Whole carbohydrates, like whole grains, legumes, and vegetables, break down more slowly thanks to fiber content, delivering a steady, predictable release of glucose. Combined with healthy fats and proteins, these meals keep your blood sugar stable and your energy consistent. 8. Breaking sugar addiction, strategies for reducing cravings. If you've ever felt like you can't stop eating sugary foods even when you want to, you're not alone, and you're not weak. Sugar has been shown to trigger the same reward pathways in the brain as addictive substances like nicotine or cocaine, making it genuinely hard to quit. But breaking free is possible with the right strategies. First, understand the biology behind the craving. Sugar causes a rapid release of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. Over time, your brain can start demanding that hit of dopamine more often, leading to habitual sugar-seeking behavior. It's a cycle of reward and craving that can feel almost compulsive. One effective way to break this cycle is to eat balanced meals that stabilize blood sugar. Every meal should ideally contain protein, healthy fats, and fiber-rich carbs. These nutrients slow digestion, prevent blood sugar spikes, and keep you feeling full longer. For example, instead of sugary cereal for breakfast, try scrambled eggs with vegetables and whole grain toast. Hydration also plays a key role. Dehydration can mimic hunger, leading you to reach for sugary snacks unnecessarily. Drinking water regularly can help curb those faux cravings. 9. Healthier alternatives, satisfying your sweet tooth without added sugar. Cutting down on added sugar doesn't mean giving up on sweet flavors altogether. In fact, one of the most sustainable ways to reduce sugar is to find healthier, more satisfying alternatives that still scratch that sweet itch without wrecking your blood sugar. First, embrace whole fruits. Fruits like apples, berries, oranges, and mangoes contain natural sugars, but they also deliver fiber, water, vitamins, and antioxidants that make them a nutritional powerhouse. The fiber slows down sugar absorption, preventing blood sugar spikes and keeping you fuller longer. A bowl of berries with a dollop of plain Greek yogurt can be as satisfying as ice cream, but with a fraction of the sugar. Another strategy is to experiment with natural sweeteners that have minimal impact on blood sugar. Options like stevia, monk fruit, and erythritol provide sweetness without the calories or blood sugar spikes of refined sugar. While it's best not to rely on these constantly so you don't maintain a hypersweet palate, They can help ease the transition away from sugar-laden desserts. Homemade treats are also game changers. By baking or preparing sweets at home, you control exactly what goes in. Swap white flour for whole grains, reduce sugar quantities, and add nuts, seeds, or fruits for extra nutrients. For example, homemade banana bread with almond flour and minimal added sweetener can be delicious without sending your blood sugar soaring. 10. Sugar and chronic diseases, the hidden long-term risks. While most people think of sugar as a short-term issue, weight gain, energy crashes, cravings, the real danger lies in its long-term impact on chronic disease risk. Consuming excessive added sugar over months and years is strongly linked to a range of health problems that can seriously affect quality of life and lifespan. Perhaps the most well-known connection is with type 2 diabetes. High sugar intake contributes to insulin resistance, a condition where cells no longer respond effectively to insulin signals. To compensate, the pancreas produces even more insulin. Over time, this chronic overproduction exhausts the pancreas, leading to persistently high blood sugar levels. Once this tipping point is crossed, type 2 diabetes is diagnosed, a disease that requires lifelong management and dramatically increases the risk of other complications like nerve damage, kidney failure, and blindness. But diabetes is only the beginning. High sugar intake is also linked to cardiovascular disease. Excess sugar, particularly from sweetened beverages, raises triglyceride levels in the blood, lowers HDL, good cholesterol, and increases blood pressure. It also promotes chronic low-grade inflammation throughout the body. These factors together create the perfect storm for atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaques in arteries that can lead to heart attacks and strokes. Liver health is another casualty of high-sugar diets. Unlike glucose, which is used throughout the body, fructose is primarily metabolized in the liver. High intake can overwhelm the liver's capacity, leading to fat accumulation, a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD. NAFLD is now one of the most common causes of chronic liver disease worldwide. 11th, meal planning for a low-sugar lifestyle. Shifting to a low-sugar lifestyle isn't about punishing yourself or cutting out everything you enjoy. It's about being strategic, informed, and prepared. Meal planning is your secret weapon here. A way to make sure healthy, satisfying meals are always ready, minimizing the temptation to reach for sugary quick fixes. Start by focusing on whole, minimally processed foods. Fresh vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, lean proteins, nuts, and seeds should form the backbone of your meals. These foods naturally have low or no added sugars and deliver fiber, healthy fats, and essential nutrients that keep you full and energized. Breakfast can set the tone for the day. Instead of sugary cereals or pastries, opt for eggs with spinach and whole grain toast, plain Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, or overnight oats made with unsweetened almond milk and chia seeds. These meals provide protein, fiber, and healthy fats to keep blood sugar stable. Lunch and dinner should follow similar principles. Grilled chicken or tofu with roasted vegetables and quinoa, salmon with brown rice and steamed broccoli, or hearty lentil stews with whole grain bread are all delicious, satisfying, and low in added sugar. Preparing these meals in advance, batch cooking on weekends, for example, makes it easy to stay on track even on busy days. Snacks are another common sugar pitfall. Avoid processed granola bars or flavored yogurts, and instead pack raw nuts, sliced veggies with hummus, hard-boiled eggs, or fruit paired with cheese. These options are convenient, nutrient-dense, and help you avoid mid-afternoon sugar crashes. 12. Creating a sustainable relationship with sugar. At the end of the day, the goal of exploring the sugar diet isn't to demonize sugar or push you into a rigid, joyless way of eating. It's about building a sustainable, healthy relationship with sugar that aligns with your goals, values, and lifestyle. First, let's acknowledge that sugar itself isn't inherently evil. In small amounts, it can enhance the taste of food, support social rituals, like birthday cake with family, and bring real enjoyment. The problem arises when added sugar becomes so pervasive in the modern diet that it crowds out nutritious foods and fuels chronic disease. Another key element is learning to enjoy less sweet flavors over time. When you cut back on sugar, your taste buds actually adjust. Foods that once seemed bland begin to taste rich and complex. Fruit becomes sweeter, spices and herbs stand out more, and even savory dishes taste more satisfying. If you found this guide helpful and want more in-depth, practical nutrition and wellness strategies every week, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's learn, grow, and get healthier together.